You can't predict the future, but you can prepare for it. Arizona State University is building degrees for what's ahead, taught by world-class faculty who are shaping our future. Explore over 350 programs offered online at asuonline.asu.edu.
Here we go! From the guys who have been there for all the biggest moments in Utah sports history, you're listening to DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone, heading into a Pioneer holiday weekend. Kevin Graham joins us to talk NFL. Kevin, I'm sorry we're going to have a limited amount of time. The guest who joined us in the last segment was way too long-winded about the WNBA. It's going to cut into your time, and I want to apologize on behalf of that clown.
No problem. I appreciate it. I have people on X now tweeting me lamb emojis and stuff, so it's amusing. Wild sheep.
Okay, that's what social media is for. That kind of comedy right there. There's all this anonymous hate and tearing people down, and you're a loser, and
I know,
getting way deep down the political rabbit hole and calling each other names. No, it's there for the fun. Send me a funny GIF.
No, I know. I'm all prepared. I spent like an hour, reading up on making sure I'm up to date on everything because I never know what the heck you're going to, throw my way. And then, of course, we lead with lambs and kids riding lambs.
And you did.
It worked out well.
And you did great.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I am fascinated with a couple of topics I wanted to hit with you here today. One of them is the NFL, the draft, and the salary cap. They want parity, and it doesn't always work because there are terrible teams and there are great teams. But one thing that always happens in the league is there are some of the really bad teams. Somebody's going worst to first. There are big turnarounds every year. There were 3 of them last year, from 2 years ago. The San Francisco 49ers, the last place team. Now, they didn't go worst to first because the division was great, but they doubled their win total from 6 to 12. They were +6 in a win column. A lot of that came down to injuries and getting people healthy, and they turned themselves into a playoff team. Now, they weren't alone. The Bears, now they went worst to first and surprised me from 5 wins to 11 wins, and they won the NFC North. And then also the New England Patriots. And that was amazing. They went from 5 wins to 14. They were +9.
That was a farce, though. They had the easiest schedule I've ever seen in my life. They only played 3 teams with a winning record during the regular season.
They were one of the advantages of being in a division with the Jets.
Well, true.
Sorry about that, Kevin.
Thanks,
Kevin
I appreciate
catches
that.
a stray pretty quickly. And having the 4th place schedule. And then what divisions do you rotate through? Some divisions are better, some are worse. You rotate through the NFC West. Sorry, but you're getting the Seahawks, Rams, and Niners, who are all 12 wins or more. And I cheated the Patriots. They went from 4 wins to 14. They're +10.
Yeah.
But you're right. Schedule's part of it. And so when I look at it this year, which team or teams are going to go worst to first or not go worst to first, have a big turnaround? I look at the teams, and there's some teams that are down. Now, I think your Jets get out of last place. So congratulations.
Well, Miami's terrible. Miami's awful, yeah.
Exactly. Miami has decided we're getting rid of all the big money. We're taking the dead cap hits. It's a lost year. We're straightening out the books. So if the Dolphins are last, the Jets can get to 3rd. So there's that. But when I'm looking for teams that are going to make a legitimate jump, I look at the Titans, I look at the Raiders, I look at the Cardinals and think, I don't think so. It's almost too cheap to pick the Saints in the South because that's a division where last place is 6 wins and first place is 8 wins. So,
yeah, you can't pick them, yeah.
Yeah, but I think that the NFC North, the Detroit Lions, it's a little cheap picking them. They were last place at 9-8, and they had some health issues. And what about a healthy year out of Aiden Hutchinson could change things? There again, it's a little cheap because they're only 2 games out of first place and last. That's doable. The team I think can really take the jump is the Giants. I think bringing Harbaugh in, they've had a bunch of first-time coaches. They don't really know what they're doing. They're trying to figure out. This guy's a proven winner. I think he can do what his brother did with the Chargers. I think he can do what we've seen in Denver. If you get a good young quarterback, you get a good young running back, you know how to run a winning organization. You've been doing it for years. Why can't he do what the Broncos have done? Why can't he do what the Chargers have done? Why can't he take the Giants? And the Cowboys should bounce back. They shouldn't have a losing record. I don't buy them the Super Bowl talk, but they ought to be able to win more than they lose. The same with the Eagles. The Eagles, to me, they always feel like a boomer bust team. they got a coaching staff. I've never seen a coaching staff that's despised more, that wins more. But it feels like they don't like each other, and that thing could fall apart. So I'm looking at the Giants and the Lions as the first two teams. I do think that the AFC North is unpredictable enough. If I had to pick a third team, oddly, I might look at the Browns. Doesn't make any sense.
Dude, they have no quarterback. I know
I
quarterback is being demeaned now because Darnold won a Super Bowl, but you got to remember, Darnold had a fantastic season
So to that point, the Bengals don't go worse from first, but they were only a game in front of the Browns on 6 wins in a division that feels wide open with Pittsburgh and Baltimore having new coaches. It's not worse to first, but the Bengals from third to first could have a turnaround season.
Yeah, I was going to say Bengals just because of Burrows, if he can stay healthy. But the Bengals are so bad defensively. I mean, now they did go out and sign a ton of free agents, so how quickly will they come together and how they were able to make a run? Now, it goes back to your initial point, though, with parity and all that. I mean, look what you just did. You basically ran through most of the NFL teams, DJ. Like, most everybody has a shot based on the wild cards of being healthy, being in the division you're playing in, the schedule you have to play. I mean, it is open for the taking. Now, injuries obviously are going to be biggest key. We always have to go into the season, though, just saying, okay, injuries are going to happen. You know, some teams will get devastated by them, like the Bengals have the last couple years, and have no shot eventually. But you also got to look and just see, like, I'm looking at it as I was going through all the teams and trying to figure out, you know, what teams will be great and what teams can we look at. I mean, you know, the Giants, yes, they can jump up. Cowboys could be good if their defense steps up. I look at I'm looking at the Bears with Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams. Now, can they continue their emergence up? You know, they were obviously in the playoffs last year. You said the Lions. The Lions, I think, are going to be big because, the question is will the new OC mesh with Jared Goff in that offense? Dan Campbell essentially hiring a new offensive coordinator after he took advantage, or actually took over as OC last year. How about the Packers? You know, they ended the season losing 5 in a row last year, but they started the season with 9 wins and I think only 3 losses and a tie. You know, will Jordan Love make that next step? Can they make the jump?
Parsons.
Yes.
Mike Parsons, is he healthy or not? He got hurt. Didn't they lose 5 in a row? I mean,
they did. Yep,
and
exactly.
You lose a very, very disruptive defensive player.
Yeah,
and you lose 5 in a row.
Yep, New England I think is going to be good, but I think they're going to step back because they're going to have a tougher schedule. They did add A.J. Brown, but also he can be a problem in the locker room as well. Drake May, of course, they have a coach that decides to have affairs with reporters, so let's see how that breaks down. You know, the Bills are the one team I always look at every year, and every year they look as a favorite, but Josh Allen just hasn't been able to take that next step, and now he's going to have a new offensive coordinator, and of course they have a new head coach. So, you know, I don't know, man. I look at it, I hate to say this because I hate the Broncos, but Denver, you know, if Nix doesn't hurt his ankle, another break, by the way, that New England got in the playoffs last year, going up against the backup quarterback to allow them to get to the Super Bowl. And, oh, by the way, they played Houston before that, who had no offense whatsoever but had a great defense. Houston, by the way, another team to keep an eye on because they do have such a dominant defense. Can C.J. Stroud step up? Like you were going. Like, I mean, there's just so many different ways you can look at it. Can the Chargers, your former team, can they make a move now if their offensive line can stay healthy? And can Mike McDaniel finally get Justin Herbert to become that elite quarterback so they can step up? I mean, you know, the AFC, I think, is wide open in my opinion. I still think on the NFC side, you got Seattle. You got to put in there. I'm a little worried about Kenneth Walker going away. Charbonneau, because Darnold definitely needs support and needs a running game. Charbonneau's got an ACL. They're going to have to rely on the rookie Jadarian Price from Notre Dame. Kubiak left, so how will Darnold respond to that? And then, obviously, I mean, from the NFC West, you got to look at the Rams, man. I think talent-wise, they got the best team. I mean, they do. Can Stafford stay healthy? Will Myles Garrett? He'll be a great player, and there's no doubt about that. If Aaron Darnold shows up, can he obviously add? They play in the toughest division already. So, honestly, I think it's Seattle or the Rams out of the NFC. And in the AFC, I think it's there for the taking. I would actually favor Denver, but you can't count out Kansas City. If Mahomes comes back being strong, he's got Bieniemy back as his OC, who's always downplayed because, you know, obviously you always look at Mahomes and Reed. But Bieniemy, when he was with KC, that's when Mahomes was at his best. So, you can't count them out. I mean, it's just That's what's so great about the NFL and why it's awesome. Like, I'm in North Carolina and Charlotte. They started. They're the first team to go to camp. The veterans reported yesterday. It's game on. And now we'll just see how it plays out and who can stay healthy, who gets the breaks during the season, and ultimately, towards the end of the season, who's playing the best ball, and then that's the team that, is going to probably win the Super Bowl.
I am 100% on board with what you said about the Broncos. That is a team that was winning and getting better and getting to the playoffs when they had major cap problems. And they're largely out from under that, and they're still on Bo Nix's rookie deal here, briefly.
Yep. Yeah, I know.
So
he's gonna get his money.
This is the window. This is the window for them. Go do it. And
Waddle joined, so they got another wide receiver for Nix. I think the biggest question for the Broncos, and this is where I'm kind of, Peyton is one of the best play callers in NFL history, you can argue. Well, he promoted Davis Webb, the quarterback's coach, to be the new offensive coordinator, and he's going to let him call plays. Now, we'll see how long that lasts if their offense is struggling a little bit, but I found that curious that Peyton was giving up play calling after how good, that's his forte in addition to being a great head coach. So I think that's something we got to keep an eye on as well with the Broncos.
Interesting story where the NBA and the NFL merge. We have seen, not a lot, but a few NFL players take less. Tom Brady famously did it so they could put a better team around them. And now we've seen Victor Wembanyama do it. The NFL quarterbacks, there are, and we'll update this now with, I was talking earlier in the show using 2025 numbers, and right now I'll use the 2026 numbers. There are 7 quarterbacks making $55 million or more. And there's another 5 who are over 50. So 12 of the 32 starting quarterbacks are now making more than $50 million. Mahomes is in that group. He's with his deal getting a bump here. He's now going to be the highest paid quarterback, surpassing Dak Prescott. $64 million for Mahomes, $60 for Prescott. What you just said about KC, Mahomes, Prescott, Burrow, the 3 highest paid quarterbacks, all missed the playoffs last year, all had losing records. Mahomes obviously had the injury.
Burrows wasn't healthy either.
Right. So,
and
but
Dak's
you think,
overpaid.
but that's part of putting so much money into one player. I get it. And some of these guys are overpaid. Like, I think there's a lot of guys is like, you're a good quarterback at 35 or 40 million bucks. I'm not sure I love you at 55 or 60 million bucks. Now, when the Rams won the Super Bowl, Stafford was a $40 million guy. Now he's a $55 million guy at age 38. When Mahomes was winning big, he was on his rookie contract. That's changed. Obviously, Seattle cashed in with a lower-paid quarterback. Darnold's like at $33 million. So I'm really intrigued with these teams that are going all in on the quarterbacks. Last year, I think 10 guys made over $50 million, and half of them made the playoffs and half didn't. Now this year, it'll be 12, and it'll be interesting to see how many of them make the playoffs. And how much money will you walk away from? It's easy for me or you to tell somebody, hey, take less money and you'll win more. Maybe it's a business, and how long do you get to play for? They get hurt. Mahomes, Burrow, we've seen it.
And it's a copycat league, so you're going to have teams that are going to try to win with the budget quarterback. I would say, and it's kind of surprising to me because if I'm a quarterback, we're talking. It's all funny money, but if I'm told like, hey, you deserve $55 million, you're one of the best quarterbacks, but if you take $35 or $40 million, we can build a better team around you. If it's the Tom Brady model. Again, people don't recall that Brady was only the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, the greatest quarterback to play the game, at least from a Super Bowl success standpoint, one time in his entire career. When he was with New England, he was never the highest paid quarterback because he wanted the team. He needed the team. And that allowed New England more than anything else to build a great team around him with, at the time, a great coach and obviously having the best player of all time to play a position in Brady at quarterback. You would think more quarterbacks because honestly, DJ, and again, this is easy for us to say, I'm pretty sure that if I or you made even $30 million, I'm pretty much, I can live on that. I can set future generations of my family on that, and yet I can make even more money in endorsements because I'm going to still be great, and my team's going to win Super Bowls to boot. So $30 million really is going to turn into $55 million anyways. Again, easier said than done, and you got agents that obviously are being paid to go out and make as much money as possible for the players so they can make as much money as possible. So, yes, you're 100% right. I think you're going to see it. I think if you say get Denver to win a Super Bowl this year with Nick's on his rookie contract still, or whatever team that has a mid-level kind of guy, I think that is going to be the model going forward for a lot of these NFL teams, because you do, unlike a lot of the other sports, you got to have a team, man. There's 22 players that you put on that field every day on offense and defense, and you can't just have one player eating up all the money and expect to win a Super Bowl every year. It's too hard in the NFL. But with that said, the cap keeps going up because the revenue keeps going up. The TV deals keep going up, the media deals, the streaming deals. Now they're overtaking the world, so they're making money probably over in the world. Mm-hmm. Everything keeps going up, so $50 million probably will be a mid-level quarterback in a couple years anyways.
Finding ways to be financially savvy is a smart move, and knowing you could be saving money for the things you really want, like that dream home or new ride, is a great feeling. That's why the State Farm Personal Price Plan can help you save when you choose to bundle home and auto. Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Head to statefarm.com to get a quote. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
So the teams that have quarterbacks who are inexpensive, Bo Nix on his rookie deal, $4.6 million.
It's crazy.
Right? So they have a chance to put a much better team around him, and it's one reason that you and I both like the Broncos. We saw them win last year. We saw them go to the playoffs the year before that. They've had success. They get to spend money on positions other people just can't afford to spend that kind of money. And so I think you got to underline that. And then the Bears. The Bears still have a quarterback who's on a rookie deal. So a massive advantage for them.
Is Stroud on a deal too? The Houston quarterback, I don't think he's making.
He's making $9 million.
Yeah, see, Houston again's got an elite defense,
and they have a phenomenal D, right? So they can afford to spend on that. So there's some teams here. Caleb is also at $9.8 million. Caleb Williams in Chicago.
Well, we saw the Niners, as you mentioned, Purdy. I mean, they made the Super Bowl with him when he was the last player picked in the draft. So I don't even know if he was making $1 million at that time.
So Baker Mayfield and the Bucs, you like him at $33 million. He's making Sam Darnold money now. He's negotiating now, and he's 31. Money. So if he wants a big payday,
he's going to make over $50 million probably with Tampa Bay. I don't know if he's really a $50 million quarterback, much like I don't think Dak's a $60 million quarterback. But in this day and age of lack of great quarterbacks, it's the most important player in the field, we always talk about. So if that's what it takes to keep him and if that's what they think they need to pay, then that's great. But to your point, then they're going to have to pay less to be able to surround him with some of the players to make that team possibly another Super Bowl team down the line.
Daniel Jones with the Colts, $44 million winnable division.
Yes.
So
if he can stay healthy, and he's got the Achilles thing. That I've witnessed the Achilles thing on my team multiple times. Vinny Testaverde back in the day got the Achilles injury when the Jets were actually favored to go to the Super Bowl. This is before a lot of people were born, and he wasn't the same quarterback the next year. Aaron Rodgers, when he played with the Jets just recently, it took him a year to get back to form. Like, I watched Aaron Rodgers last year against the Steelers. Not that he was outstanding or the past Aaron Rodgers, but he was a heck of a lot better than when he was with the Jets. Part of it because he had a better team around him. But, it takes a while on that Achilles injury. So I would not be surprised if Daniel Jones takes a step back this year, because I honestly think that injury is hard to recover from and to be back to being 100%. So I don't know about him, honestly.
Aaron Rodgers at $22 million, Sam Darnold at $33.
Yeah, Darnold, he just won the Super Bowl.
Yep.
So, if he can play anywhere near where he's played, honestly, the last couple years, although he did have a meltdown towards the end of the season when he was with the Vikings, if he could play to that level again, Seattle's got a great defense again. Really the big thing is just, are they going to have the same level of passion and did they sit on their laurels at all in the offseason? Can they be that, I guess, Chiefs were the last team that went back-to-back, 23-24, something like that? They could easily be, well, not easily, because the Rams, I think, are really good. They should be right there, Seattle and the Rams in the NFC, and have a good shot at repeating.
Last thing, I want to switch gears here and throw you a little bit of a curveball. But you might have local knowledge because you are currently living in Charlotte, and you've lived there for a little while now. There's a speculation out there, and that's all it is right now is speculation. but you've probably read about Tom Dundon, the owner of the Carolina Hurricanes, the Stanley Cup champs. He's purchased the Portland Trail Blazers, and he's basically running around town, and if anybody has money, he screams mine. That's it.
Oh, yeah. He just fired his whole broadcast team.
The whole broadcast team is out.
He's cutting everybody.
He let go a bunch of vice presidents on the business side before that, and now he's fighting with the city, county, and the state over the lease. Primarily the city, but the county and state might be kicking in to refurbish or build a new or whatever they end up doing. There's speculation about him going to Vegas and Seattle, and Bill Oram, you probably remember from the Salt Lake Tribune, has a good story about owners are like, well, I like Tom, but I like $200 million more, which would be their share of the expansion fee. So forget those two towns. But Kansas City, Nashville has been mentioned. Kansas City lost the Kings, has built an NBA arena on spec. It hosts the Big 12 tournament, so there's Ute and Cougar fans who've been to that. That seems a possibility. Nashville, to me, seems a little iffy, and you've had family in Nashville, if I'm correct.
Yeah,
because
my daughter lives there.
Baseball, they already have football, and they already have hockey. They're about to get baseball. It seems like they're the leader for expansion in 4 or 5 years. I could see he'd want to run in there with basketball and beat them there. Major League Soccer, I mean, what, they're going to have like 5 teams in there, everybody writing $1 million deals? Is that, or multi-million-dollar deals, or in the case of the NFL, multi-billion? I don't know that that's the perfect scenario. But then
Plus,
I heard
Memphis isn't far either. So
right.
I don't know if I really don't think you can put 2 teams in Tennessee in the NBA.
Okay, wait for it. The thing I just read is he's already got a deal in Raleigh. He put him in the building there, even though Charlotte has a team that's a little less than 3 hours apart, maybe 2.5 by car. That, I think, would go over really poorly in Charlotte. What would the league say? How would the vote go? It just needs to be a majority vote. I'm just curious if, having lived there, you have any insight into how that might fly.
Well, I can give you a little insight on that. Most Hornet fans are pretty ticked off right now at the Hornets for blowing up a team that was one of the best teams in the later half of the season in the entire NBA, and trading their superstar LaMelo Ball just as he seemed to start maturing a little bit and actually playing well. So let's just say there's a lot of anger towards the Hornets right now in this market. North Carolina is one of the fastest growing states in the country. A lot of people moved here, particularly a lot of people from the Northeast who come here. I honestly think the weather here is overrated. I mean, but people from New York and Midwest and whatever think it's great because it's not as the Midwest or Northeast winters, but you still get a kind of a winter here. But, it's interesting because I think Raleigh and Charlotte, they definitely they have some competition going back and forth. And the Hurricanes did not really have any – I didn't get any feel for them here in Charlotte until they started to make their playoff run and then got to the Stanley Cup Finals and obviously won. Then suddenly on the local sports radio and fans, I would go out to have dinner or whatever, and there would be Hurricane fans out and stuff. So they're 2 different pockets. Charlotte is obviously the bigger city, but Raleigh is emerging. It's a big tech area. You got the universities there with Duke and North Carolina, and NC State's not far. It could be a possibility. Do I have any insider knowledge or anything? No. But I do say that it seems to be 2 separate areas, and it's about a 3+ hour, as you mentioned, 3+ hour drive from Charlotte. So it's not like you got Charlotte people running up to Raleigh to go watch the Hurricanes. It's just, and you don't have a ton of Raleigh people that are coming down watching the Hornets because it's a 3-hour drive. So it could be a possibility. I mean, I'd just be surprised. Wouldn't you, if the NBA would allow that, though, to have 2 teams in that short of a distance to each other in the same state? I mean, obviously basketball is huge in the state, but if I had to rank sports, being in Charlotte, the sports is Carolina Panthers, college basketball, or college football / college. I'd say college basketball, actually, number 2, and then ACC college football would be number 3. And then you go down to, Hurricane. I would even argue that the Charlotte soccer team actually gets some love here in Charlotte more so than I've been in other markets. So I don't know. I just don't think that would make sense for the NBA to put 2 teams like that in North Carolina.
We'll leave it right there for now, Kevin. Always good to talk to you. Thanks for hopping on. We appreciate it.
Had a blast. I hope Jake and PK are having a good time vacationing together at Disneyland. They're wearing the mouse ears together. They're hanging out, sharing cotton candy. I hope they're having a great time.
I don't think that's what's happening, but either appreciate or despise the visual. Thanks for that. Sharing cotton candy while wearing Mickey Mouse ears.
And please, parents of Utah, don't put your 6-year-old on a wild lamb. It just doesn't make sense. That's not the way to celebrate Pioneer Day. I'm pretty sure the pioneers didn't force their children on wild baby oxes as they were trampling across the country to settle in Salt Lake City. All right? I'm pretty sure that was not what Pioneer Day is all about.
Ron, wild sheep. Nice, Ron. Good post. All right. Thanks, Kevin. We'll talk to you. All right.
Sounds good.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. When we come back, we promise you that Minky Couture blanket. We'll give that away on the other side. Stay with us.